I'll read it out. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Anybody has? Please use the Zoom reaction. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Beulah, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ajit. Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Sir Bijli and Dr. Jamila. Very relatable talk, especially for parents as us whose kids have just finished 12th, and we are at the crossroads of helping them to find the right university and institution. So, as ma'am rightly said, and I'm a dentist myself, I ventured into the education sector. So I do agree that parents are the first teachers, and we know the child's strengths and weaknesses as such, because we know we've been there at home, we watch them do well or perform or fail, or we know how they cope up with all that. My question is, to what extent should I support the desire or the career choice, keeping in mind, the child's strengths or weakness. At the same time, the child may be interested in science but scores less, whereas has maths. I'm talking about science and math because this is the main streams and subjects that is there. Whereas in math, he may be very good in numbers, he scores very well, but he doesn't want to choose anything got to do with math because of some weird phobia. So that is one part I wanted to ask, and also the second part where ma'am said it's okay if they take a drop year. You were talking about like let them pursue their own interest. So to what extent that also would it lead to disappointment in the end? Is something that if they don't do well even after a drop year or extended study year. These are my two questions.
Billy, you want to start?
Yeah, I would be more of being supportive to a considerable extent. Uh,
Mm,
Supporting doesn't mean pampering, right? Supporting means, working with your child, talking to your child, and
mm,
coming to see. Ultimately, if your child is in 12, I think as Jamila rightly put it, you start early. And one of the
mm,
goal of parenting is helping the child develop the ability to make decisions and rational decisions. So even as
mm,
me as a parent, me and my wife, that is something that we focused on, right? And also being able to trust. See, when the child makes a decision, we'd be able to trust the child. So if, like for example, my daughter didn't want to take math, and she
mm,
struggled with math, so we were very sure that math is not the subject that uh, you know. Uh, but then she wanted to take science. We were
mm,
open for her not to take science as well, but she wanted to take science, and though physics was a problem, so we arranged tuitions for them. So we
mm,
worked in the way of her comfort zone. We did not
mm,
impose our views on her, right? And rather let her work it out. So there's a bit of a trial and error, there's a bit of a risk, right? We parents sometimes are apprehensive of the risk.
mm.
And see, I think Indian parenting style is that the children should not make mistakes, or we should not make
Yes.
mistakes in life. But then we learn by making mistakes in life, right? So that should be the perspective. Like, it's okay. And also, if a child makes a mistake in life, also help the child to accept. See, a lot of them, when they make a mistake and they're not able to, they have a regret that I made the mistake. That leads to depression and mental health. I think Jamila will talk more about that. Right.
Mm,
And now, as far as break year is concerned, also depends on. See, there are children who have taken break years and made a good comeback, right? So it depends. It's like see, our academic system is also so much of a pressure we put it on the academic load. I think children needs a time to really have
yeah.
a vacation and a break, for that. So if a child needs a break, but then make it a constructive break, right? So that it may be certain things that to develop confidence, to develop, you know, uh, there are certain emotional needs also that needs to, so to develop kind of a
Mm,
confidence to make the second try, So that break also we should be, and maybe during that break the child can learn certain skills. If it's a productive break, the
okay.
the child
Mm.
can come kind of in a good refreshed manner. Over to you, Jamila.
Yeah, I concur with everything that Billy said. I think that if a child doesn't like maths and they have a sort of phobia of maths, then we need to respect that. It's kind of too late at this point to push him into something, thinking that he can do it if he wants. Maybe, but it'll be very stressful for him. So there's no point in us forcing that. He probably needs to make that decision for himself. Okay, so you need to trust him on that. And yes, if he wants to take a break, I don't see any reason why you cannot, but you need to have some kind of a time limit. Okay, I think that discuss with him that how long would this break be, and what is the purpose of having a break. I mean, are you going to write the exam again, or are you going to give some entrances again, or figure out what it is. Okay, and if he really requires a gap year, that should be all right. Work with that. Okay, and don't be afraid. Okay, so as you show trust in your child, uh, they will normally live up to it.
This is for
Okay?
the
Trust
NEET.
your parenting.
Yeah.
Trust
Yes,
your
ma'am.
parenting.
Yeah. This is for the NEET drop year. So
Right. So if he wants to give it one more shot, so you should have some kind of a time frame. No, ask him to figure out the time frame. I mean, obviously, you can't give it for 5 years.
yeah,
By the time you would sort of lose initiative, you'll get more depressed if you don't get it several
exactly.
times. So have different options. Plan with him what his different options are. If it is not NEET, if he doesn't get it again next year, what are the other options? What is your plan B? So I would suggest you sit and discuss with him. Allow him to have a venting place for figuring out. Okay, and trust him to figure it out. But it is his choice. That has to be clear. He has to decide.
Yes.
It should not be you deciding.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Anyone else? Would you use your Zoom reaction to raise the hand or put it on the chat? You are also welcome to ask it anonymously by sending it on direct chat. Any other question? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Recently, there was somebody who shared on the public forum that how he became a doctor. This particular person, but then later realized that he never wanted to be a doctor. He did it to win the approval of his parents, or mother in particular. So how do we explain those phenomena that occur to please or to, and then and, and then you find out right in the middle of your life this is not what you wanted to do.
Well, I think that's very common. I think many people make choices depending on what parents want or what is seen as a good career choice or what is socio-culturally sort of acceptable. So many people are in careers which they don't really want to be, unfortunately. So I think the best thing is to come to terms with that. It's good to process and know that this is the choice that you made. And then now you have to figure out what you're going to do with that. No, again, you have to make a decision. It's a whole question of making a mature decision. Am I going to uh, pursue something else if I have the ability to do so and the financial resources to do so, and if I can do it responsibly without making my family or anyone else suffer? If I want to do that, some people may go for that. Some people may find a niche area within their career which they like. Okay, so many people do that. Within each career, there is some space where you may find that, okay, this part of it I like. So you may choose to go into that part of it, or it may be an allied field. Or, for instance, a doctor who's a surgeon who doesn't want to be a surgeon may go into medical administration and do more of administration, or they may go into public health, or they may go into research, or so there are different avenues that you can, or you may sort of move into some kind of niche area, training of nurses or doctors or whatever. So you can figure out areas which are more to your liking within your field. If you can pursue something else, well and good. If not, you might decide to just stick with it and manage somehow and laugh at yourself a little bit that I was foolish enough to do this. But I will make sure that my children don't have to do that. I won't pressurize them. So
Yeah, let me just add on to that. I have come across quite a few doctors. I know a particular doctor also. He wanted to be into sports medicine.
yeah, so those who like sports can go into that area.
he tried to get in, but then he found sports medicine is not. And then later on, he became, he didn't like medicine nor sports medicine. He became a civil service officer, right? So, but then he did not waste, as Jamila rightly put. And I know another doctor who, after practicing for some years, he became a specialist in AI, artificial intelligence, and into artificial intelligence business. So there are doctors who have, made, changes and moved to different fields, which is and not in touch with the medical field.
Right.
I think James is after something.
Okay, yeah, James, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, okay. This question is to Billy. In some sense, maybe a generic question. Indian parents' obsession with doctor, engineering kind of professions of science, how to deal with it and what it is. Do you have any statistics, what it does to the parents, children and others? Because for the case that my daughter wanted to study in English medium arts in a district where I went, and there was not even one school offering that. Then the teachers were trying to convince me all those things, especially in a multiple groups, even many Christians are here. So I think we have an obsession to some of these areas. So your comments on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And in fact, see, even though when my daughter went into CBSE school in Delhi, in a Christian school, the school highlighted, STEM as a higher, like almost like a Brahminical scriptures over considering the arts and commerce as Shudras and untouchables, right? Almost like a caste system. I think we have, it's come into our culture. And in fact, I shared right at the beginning of this presentation, 61% of the, students, who are thinking of a career change are taken career choices because of the parental pressure. And of that, a large number, I don't have the statistics of medical doctors, but I have a statistics of engineers. A large group of them are engineers, right? Because I think medical field is so competitive, and engineering, there are a lot of seats. So a lot of people are into engineering, and a large number of them are engineers who want to change. And then if you see, those who don't seek career guidance but are able to make career shift, if you look at MBA finance, more than 50% of the MBA finance graduates are not from commerce background, but from engineering background. Right? So similar statistics are there. So one thing is, yes, many of them face career frustrations when they feel this is not the job that they do. Right? Some of them go through a lot of pressures. I know that some of them fail and not pass. Right? And they struggle with. When I worked among university students with a non-profit earlier, a good number of students, especially in Pune, 80 KT drop year, 80 KT drop year. I know students who've taken 7, 8 years to finish their engineering. I don't, because I have interacted more with the engineering students, so I don't have the exact statistics of medical, but it definitely shows that a lot of, if you look at, you take 7, 8 years to finish your engineering, think about the money that has gone in, right? And that money has come from the parents. Right? Or if the parents are not from well-off background, they may have dropped the course. Right? I know people who have dropped from architecture and gone to another field, dropped from engineering and gone to commerce. A lot of such cases are there, and some of them are going through mental health issues as well. Right? So it is definitely an issue. In fact, that is also creating a market for my kind of clientele. Also, it's business for me also, because of the mistake the parents have made. I have such clients, in fact.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think there's a question on the chat. I've got two sons. The younger one wants to get into IIT. At the same time, he wants to appear for NEET. I have no choice. I have no issues in what he chooses, but told him to be focused. Am I right?
As long as the child is making the choices and it's not imposed by, I think it's perfectly fine. But at the same time, as a parent, check if they have the aptitude to clear an IIT or NEET, and do their personality profiles also meet up, and do they really have a passion for that, not just getting in because of the degree sake, but the passion for the nature of the job. If that is there, then you can be supportive, and as a parent, help them to focus on a realistic objective, and these objectives are realistic, then definitely you can support them.
Thank you. Okay, any other question, friends? I think you can just unmute and ask also, or put it on the chat. Billy, in the meanwhile, can you please point to some kind of test? Which are the good kind of tests that parents should, encourage their youngsters to do after their 10th or 12th or further on? Because some institutions have tests just for namesake. So can you clarify and point to some places where they can?
The field of psychometric testing, especially career guidance, is just like the medical diagnostic field. It is commercialized and highly exploited. So there are a lot of poor quality psychometric tests. So it's highly commercial. So it's just like when I say, just like when you choose any particular product or service, there are services which are brands which are good, right, and which are good quality, and which are not. So that is one thing. From a basic point of view, 3 basic tests. One is an interest profiling, right? And that's a standard international test that is done. And there's a personality profiling. In personality, big 5 trait tests are better than the type tests. Like MBTI and all are have a poor reliability and validity factor. So some of the psychometric, the career guidance people use those kind of tests. So if it is many of them, the sad thing is that they are not very transparent also. They don't give you the under the hood look also, especially so even when I chose career guidance as a profession, when I moved from the non-profit, I had to study different career guidance service providers and the different types of psychometric tests, and so I had to study that, and some of them were not very transparent also, telling also. Many of them abuse unnecessary number of tests. So my personal opinion, I can recommend, personality test, trait test, and there's we can say aptitude testing. These 3 tests, interest testing, interest profile, usually it can be based on RISAC or a more advanced version of RISAC, like my company Mentoria uses that. And then personality test and an aptitude test. Now, companies which provide the top service provider which provides these is iDream Career, IDC. They have a tie-up with many of the CBSE and many of the government. The number 2 in the market is the company which I am empaneled with, Mentoria.com. They also do the basic psychometric tests, and then 3 and 4 are basically 3, 4, and 5. I can say one is TCS Ion has a career guidance testing profile, which is good, but somehow they're not pushing it. That is also good psychometric quality. Pearson's, a well-known brand in psychological testing. Pearson's tied up with IIT Madras have a psychometric test which is very good. Both Pearson's and TCS Ion psychometric tests for careers are very good. And in Mumbai, Profulta, all right, they are quite affordable. And many other companies, I don't want to name the name, they use poor quality. Some of them tests like MBTI. Some of them use pop psychology tests like learning behaviors and all, which are not validated. There is no validity, and also reliability for such tests. So we have to be very cautious. But it's highly commercialized, and and then there are fake tests. Which are banned, actually not banned, which are which the Indian Psychiatric Association has warned, like DMIT, this finger, the fingerprint testing. Those are all like astrology. A lot of people invest in that, those kind of stuff. So this is a highly commercial field, and very few. Government of Maharashtra, if you're in Maharashtra, government of Maharashtra does good. Some of the government testings are good. Kerala government has tied up they do their own testing, and they have tied up with IDC, and I think even Telangana government has tied up with IDC. So some of the the good government schools have these kind of psychometric tests. So trust the government if the government is a good government, and trust good quality service providers.
Thank you.
One more thing, you can also trust maybe psychology departments of good universities. Like, for example, IIT, and even IIT is a tech university, but they do have social sciences also. So some of these good universities, their psychology departments, even Mentoria, they for their psychometric quality, they did it, their standardization, reliability, and for validity, they use the Pune University's psychology department to do this test.
Yeah. Yeah, I think someone's requesting to put these tests on the chat.
Yeah, I don't do it directly. If you can approach me, if you're interested, I can get it done through my company, Mentoria.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Any other question, friends? This is a good opportunity for us to clarify our doubts, and if you want to just check whether you are on the right track as a parent, you could clarify that. You're free to ask your questions anonymously by sending it on direct chat to our speaker or to me. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. So,
Brother Abhijit,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
brother, good evening. Thank you very much for conducting this great webinar. I would request you to conduct another webinar for students also. Could you hear?
Yes, brother. Yeah, students, yeah, okay. We've done it in the past, and there's already lots happening, but nobody's speaking to parents. So we thought of doing that.
Yeah, it was excellent. I will give 10 out of 10 the score for today's webinar. Thanks for Billy, and thanks for Ma'am Jamila for best insights they have presented today.
Thank you, brother, for your encouragement. Yeah. Any question? Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Dr. Jamila, there is something something strange that I have noticed also about how parents are able to push their kids who are reluctant in a certain direction. But also in some cases what happens is the kid or the youngster is able to blend and count it as their joy, which is quite strange, because often I've spoken on behalf of their kid and argued with the parents, what are you doing? And of course the parents prevail, and later on the kid is quite fine with it. So I don't understand. I end up looking like a fool or a villain. But what's this phenomenon, and how does that carry forward? Like what happens? You're on mute, Dr. Jamila.
Yeah, I guess it's just children internalizing the voice of the parent, right? So children want to identify with the parents. So there is very strong urge in the children to have that identity with the parents, as long as they get along with the parents generally and they're not rebellious. So often they might internalize, and they won't even, I mean, as you said, right, it's after many years, sometimes that doctor you're talking about, after many years only he realized that I didn't want to be this at all. So we are able to hide things from ourselves, and we muddle along. So it's okay. So don't get into too many squabbles on behalf of the children because of that. It's
Seriously, we want that. Okay. So I think some of the not much questions today. Maybe some of the parents are in trauma and need to process this all. But great, yeah. Okay, I think there's something. Can we do these testings online? Yeah, we'll connect you with Billy or
Yeah. See,
Billy.
the tests are paid tests. It's done online, actually. Offline tests also available, but offline tests are done at the centers. But mostly it's done online.
Right.
But I think I'll repeat here that while testing and all is good, and while going to a career counselor is good, we shouldn't rely on them. Okay, don't rely on psychometric testing as the only way to do it. Would you agree with me, Billy?
Yeah, I agree. In fact, my
Yeah.
presentation, if you noticed, I was always saying that you can observe it as a parent. See, as you rightly put it, right? If you start early and know
Yeah, if
your
you
child,
start early, you won't need all this.
yeah, or need all this.
Yeah.
And if you are able to recognize and observe,
Yes.
do the psychometric tests, right?
And if you
have a
don't
close-
stifle the children's natural urges, no?
Yes.
So it is when we have stifled the children's natural urges sometimes that they are confused very much later.
Yeah.
Maybe for parents who are coming in late, psychometric tests may help.
Sometimes, yes, that happens. Yeah.
Okay, there's a question on direct chat which has come to me. My son was told to do a test a second time as there was some discrepancy while taking the test the first time. So I don't know whether there's a question there, but yeah, if they've told you to do a second test, then you could.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
It happens.
In fact, it happened to one of my counseling session also. I had a client from Uttarakhand, and when I see basically when I do it's a 2-hour session. On that first half an hour, I try to figure out how the person did the psychometric test. I came to know that this particular student, he was a Hindi speaking student. He did not understand any of the items, and he did it randomly. And then I told you, then I told that then the test results, I cannot do your counseling because your test results are not, it's a random tukka maar ke aapne kiya hai. So then he was retested in a Hindi format. So sometimes errors do happen. It can happen online. A lot of it happens online, and offline also it can happen. And also, see, the other thing is that when we tell for the psychometric test to become valid, sometimes a parent may be hovering over the child, right? Or the parent, even if the parent is not hovering over the child, there is some. I personally, the clients who come directly to me, I just orient them that let the child do it by him or herself, and and there should not be any pressure, right? No prompting, and at the same time, the child should answer as he is or as she is, not as he or she expects to be, or as he or she, the parents or the community expects. So if the child answers honestly as his or her, the answers are accurate, right? So if the child is answering it because of certain pressures or certain even the parents are compelling a child to do a psychometric test, right? Sometimes those tests will go wrong. So that's why I do a lot of background check during the first few minutes of my counseling to verify whether the child has done it properly or were there some challenges in doing the psychometric test. If some of the major there, then I call up Mentoria, the company, and I ask the person to be tested again.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think Billy, in your presentation, you already mentioned that, what are the consequences when we push your kid in the wrong direction? This mental health, they slip into depression, and there's suicide also in some cases. And we get to read almost every year in this high competitive stage when students fail, or sometimes even when their marks are bad, they resort to suicide because they are so afraid of their parents, how they will face their parents, and it's really sad. But can both of you, Dr. Jameela also, can you comment on this high pressure or this high ambition parents have, and which they secretly also let their children know that you have to go abroad because everyone in our family, their kids have gone abroad, because you both were there on the migration panel also that we did some time back. But can you comment on what Dr. Jameela mentioned, that parents are also in soup and youngsters also get into soup. But can you clarify that a bit? Because that sometimes, because I've heard often parents say, some of the parents say that they are so proud that their kids are abroad. So that is become the great Indian dream of an Indian parent. So can you comment a bit on that? What can happen in that area?
Well, I think it's the latest fad, so everybody is rushing to do this. So one child goes, then everybody goes. So it's kind of the peer thing to do, and the parents and children all are succumbing to that. So it's as if there is nothing in India worth studying, or no college at all which is worth studying in. So I'm not sure that this is completely true, and I'm not sure that all colleges abroad are as good as they claim to be. They have their own issues, and then of course there's the financial thing to work out. So I think that get rushing into this is again not a very practical or a sensible thing to do. Yes, there may be certain courses which are not available anywhere, so you have to go abroad to study. But then you have to also factor in that there is a financial issue, there is also the emotional issue, there is the whole issue of undergraduate students, very young, very impressionable. This is the age in which their identity formation is taking place, and you're kind of throwing them into a world where they have to start from scratch. So it's not going to be easy at all. You're setting them up for a lot of stress. So I don't know why it's taken as a status symbol. It shouldn't be. Do we have the courage to not do it, to not go with status symbols? That comes down to that. It's often, as I said, it's often our own insecurities which we are working off on the children. It's our own ambitions which we are working off on the children. If it's a child's choice and they are reasonable about how they're going to raise the money and all that, that's one issue. Difficult, but yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as parents, I think maybe one of the things is like, let's not live out. Let the child live up to his or her dream. Let's not fulfill our dreams through our self-esteem or our achievements through our children. See, we are responsible for our achievements and what God has blessed us with, right? So many times, what our unfulfilled desires we transfer onto our child, and then we also have certain social needs or social recognition needs. So there is a peer pressure as far as parents are concerned. As far as children, yes, as Jamila rightly put, there is a peer pressure. A lot of the children are going abroad, and so there is a pressure there. And then, yes, many of the courses, the good quality education is available in India, but there is also one problem is that affordable courses are very competitive. Good quality courses. So one of the struggles, even I as a parent struggled even for my daughter, right? I almost thought that she will not be able to get into a course of her because of the competition, right? And for her masters also, we have done a lot of entrance exams, and she may have to work, right? So even those who go into medicine, I know the struggles of some of the medical students also right now. I know one particular student after MBBS really struggling to get into PG. Another student was able to go through the DGO and DNB route, right, and made it big. In the process of making it big. So competition is one factor also, right? Although good courses are available in India, some of the good courses, affordable or good quality seats or good institutions, seats are limited because of competition. And even I have my struggles. I'm a supporter of reservation, right? Because I believe in empowerment. But my daughter says that 50% of those seats are gone, and because she's in the general category, right? So I have a struggle even talking about as a parent, talking about the need for reservation, need for community, and then that reservations also, she sees it being abused by the creamy layer, people who have already come, or using fake caste certificates. So because of these challenges also, there's a frustration among young people to go abroad. There is also the peer pressure, as well as there's a genuine pressure also, right? So I have seen
Yes,
both angles. Yeah.
Yes, but the genuine pressure is sometimes not as genuine as all that. For instance, when you say that there is no PG available, no, after an MBBS, the fact is that you don't need to do a PG, no. What is this pressure? That itself is a pressure. That
That's a
itself is
pressure.
that itself is an artificial created pressure. Why do you need to do a PG immediately? In fact, I tell all medical students when they are passing out that don't get into this PG thing. If you get a PG, well and good, but start working immediately. Get a job either as a casualty medical officer or a registrar, or you start working somewhere as a doctor. There are plenty of doctors' jobs available which are not filled because
Well, yeah.
students are all busy trying to get their PG seats. And they're all getting stressed out trying to get this PG thing. And in the process, they are losing out on their clinical skills. They're losing out on the money they could be earning, on the patients they could be helping. So the whole motivation for studying, the whole motivation for work is being lost. Are you working to get a PG or are you working to help people as a doctor? So I think the whole system can be a little unbalanced. So if you work as a doctor, for instance, for 5 to 10 years, sometimes you will be given a sponsorship for a PG. So there are different avenues acceptable for this. So the problem is people don't see that there's a sort of panic situation created. It's an artificial scarcity which we are talking about. Okay. And even when we talk about reservations, the fact is that the rich have reserved seats for themselves all these years. As soon as you say as soon as you say that cheap seats are few and the paid seats are many, costly seats are many, that means that the rich have reserved seats for themselves. The rich, that is the upper caste, have reserved seats for themselves. So the poor are getting, so those who can afford it have to go there. The poor should at least get the seats which are less costly. So that's the argument which we should use when children say that, oh, this 50% of the seats are reserved. No, 100% of the seats in the other institutions are reserved for the rich. 100%. Okay, there's a question here. Someone sent me a personal message saying that I don't believe in these psychometric tests. I would rather talk to my son and discuss with him. You said earlier that there's no need for psychometric tests. Can you please put it in a nutshell what and how to start? My son is going to standard 12. Well, I think what we said was not that psychometric tests don't have their place, but it's not that you have to do them. It's not that they are something compulsory that you have to do them or anything like that. If your son already has an inkling as to what he wants to do, see, Billy pointed out, right? What are the 3-4 areas that we need to look at? You need to look at what is the interest of the child. You need to look at what is the aptitude of the child, and you need to look at what is the personality inclination of the child, right? So if you have a child who is, for instance, a very caring, giving kind of person who would be happy in a very service-oriented job, perhaps, and if he has an aptitude for, if he has an aptitude to learn science or whatever, and if he, what is it? If that's his interest as well, then perhaps if he wants to do nursing, he may do very well as a nurse, right? It's a good career. There's absolutely no reason why a boy should not be a nurse any more than a girl should be a nurse. That may be what he wants to do, or he may want to take medicine, or he may want to take any of the paramedical sciences, okay, physiotherapy or occupational therapy. So you already have an idea, no? So you don't have to do the test. You do the test if you are confused as to what is your aptitude, if you're confused as to, what your personality is. But most of the time, you already have some idea. After all, the personality test is not answering it from the sky. It's answering it from what you write down. You are filling the form and you're giving it, and somebody is just looking at it and saying, okay, this is your personality. You are writing it. It's not as someone else who's writing it. So you already know. So that's what I'm saying. So you can figure that out and you can, you can work it out. Okay, so there's some other comment here. Is that for me? Or okay, there's another direct message for me. Oh. Ma'am, I belong to a family with all specialist doctors, either abroad or CMC. First time I'm hearing that PG is not required right away. Many medicos are spending years preparing for PG and USMLE, saying that MBBS alone has no value at all. Can you please clarify, ma'am? Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. This has become a new peer pressure, saying that MBBS has no value at all, whereas that is not true. You can get jobs in 100 government institutions with an MBBS, in different fields of life, and these posts are all lying vacant. And these are all government jobs. You can get a good job which has a good salary, and you start using your skills, you start serving the poor, you start earning money, which takes the pressure off. Otherwise, if you're spending years preparing for PG and USMLE, obviously you're under great stress. You're spending your parents' money. You have nothing of your own. You are stressed. Other people have got this. You're comparing. It's a very stressful thing. So get into a job right away, and then if you want, prepare for PG on the side. You just need to then spend 2 or 3 hours every day studying for a few months, and you will probably get it. You'll be in a better frame of mind to be able to crack the PG entrance. By the way, that's what I did. Okay. I worked for 3 or 4 years after my MBBS as a general duty doctor in different places, in the army, in different places. And then I studied for my exam, and I got into the top psychiatry institute in the country because I only studied 2 hours a day, but I had no pressure. There was no one sitting on my head saying that you're not earning money, or I had no pressure at all. I was happy. I was working 8 hours a day, and I could do all sorts of other hobbies, and I could have fun. And then I studied for 2 to 3 hours every day, and I got into the really the best college for psychiatry in India. So we don't have to go by the peer pressure. Okay. Chart your own way. And it's important for us to read and be informed and tell our children all this.
Right. Thank you. Okay, friends, we have come to the close, but if there's any more questions, since our speakers are making themselves available beyond time. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jameela and Billy, for your precious time. We are so glad and blessed to listen to you, to your insights and knowledge. We hope to stay connected and come back for more such subjects. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.